I wouldn't worry as much about COVID-19 as making sure you have a hurricane plan.
No one wanted this, but all of us need to be preparing for hurricane season in the middle of a pandemic. How COVID-19 changes the game. Troopers, police, firefighters all stay on the job during a storm. In minutes, how they prepare themselves and their families. Welcome back to a special edition of News 6 at 7. Hurricane season 2020 getting results. And if you doubted we were in for an active hurricane season, the big news tonight is the National Hurricane Center is pinpointing a brand new tropical depression in the South Bay of Campeche. It is not a danger to us, at least not yet. It will be named Cristobal if it reaches tropical storm strength. That's because we have already seen not one but two tropical storms in May. This year, NOAA predicts we will see 13 to 19 named storms. 6 to 10 of them will become hurricanes, and 3 to 6 of those will grow to major hurricane strength. That is slightly above average. Hard to believe, but it's now been 15 years since Hurricane Katrina devastated Louisiana. The colossal cost of that storm shows proper preparations are crucial. I asked former FEMA Chief Craig Fugate how it's different this year, getting ready in a pandemic. I've known Craig since he headed up Florida's response to Hurricanes Charlie, Francis, Jeanne, and Ivan back in 2004. How would you go about suggesting people think about evacuations during a quarantine?
Same way we've always talked about it. If you live in an evacuation zone and the order comes, leave. Go to friends and families, go to hotels and motels, and go to shelters if you have no other options. I think this is a big thing, Tom, we got to keep hammering. People in evacuation zones, COVID or no COVID, will need to evacuate if a storm threatens. However, for people who don't live in evacuation zones, unless you're in a situation that requires you to evacuate, prepare your home and prepare for power outages and stay home. And the additional part of COVID-19, add masks, gloves, and sanitizers to your kit.
Good tip.
We've been telling people shelter in place, don't go anywhere, minimize your exposures to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and you getting sick. Mm-hmm. You know how many people are going to come up with every reason not to evacuate. They don't want to get stuck in the traffic. They don't want to have to, deal with everything else. Financially, there's a lot of people that are broke. They're not working. So I'm a little concerned that some folks who normally could evacuate may not even have money for gas.
Wow. Anything else you want to add?
And everybody's been telling me, it's going to be horrible. How do you deal with hurricanes and COVID-19? I'm like, emergency managers don't have that option. They got to figure it out. And they've been working on this. And we're having to fine tune shelter operations. What we may see is more emphasis on hotels and motels, which unfortunately for Florida are vacant because we're not seeing tourism, but may be a place for people during evacuations to go. And we're going to probably see smaller shelters versus very large shelters. We may have more of them so that we're able to better contain if we do have an outbreak versus, 5,000 people in a shelter, versus 500 is a much different number to manage. And it makes social distancing much easier because it's easier to do it when you keep your numbers down. It will be different, but it will be very much the same. Hurricane threatens, evacuations are ordered, people need to leave. Take your pets with you.
During the pandemic, we praise doctors, nurses, and first responders who stay on the job and put their lives on the line. During a hurricane, they leave their families and get ready to protect us as best they can. Orange County Fire Rescue showed me what that means. In the 20 years Battalion Fire Chief Brett Walsman has been with Orange County Fire Rescue, he has never spent a single hurricane with his family.
As a firefighter, there's an unsung hero, and that is a firefighter spouse who has to deal with those situations at the home front while their spouse is out taking care of other people.
That's because when a storm threatens and the all call goes out, first responders leave their homes and get to work.
Sometimes we spend several days in a row at a fire station. It takes some forethought for us, as we know a storm's coming, to prepare our families just like we expect other people to prepare.
So how can we help get results for them? First, be as ready as possible.
But you never know when that storm's going to happen. So take those seriously so that when that storm is as big as they say it is, you are in a situation where you can protect your family which helps us protect ours and keeps us from taking unnecessary risks.
Those kinds of risks include ignoring mandatory evacuation orders. If you're supposed to leave, leave. If you or a loved one requires electricity for medical equipment, make arrangements ahead of time. Don't be on the roads if it's not absolutely necessary. And if you do, follow those curfews. Just remember, high winds can stop crews from responding to calls, which could mean no one can come to help you during the worst of the storm. When the storm is over, OCFR mobilizes their Citizens Assistant Response Team called CART to get results for residents who need a helping hand.
By us dedicating our time to clearing roads and patching roofs, it allowed our normal forces to continue responding to EMS calls and fire calls.
So the more prepared you are before a storm hits, the sooner these heroes can get back to their homes and families.
For my wife, I give her a lot of credit for seeing herself and our daughter through those storms, knowing that I'm not the person that she can call on to help. So that's where it's important to get everything done as those storms hit and be prepared so that you know that they're sound and your mind's in the right spot as you're going out and helping others.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kegas in our ClickOrlando.com headquarters. If you have a question, just head to ClickOrlando.com/chat and submit that. Our next question for you, though, we had this several times here. At what wind speeds do my windows break? Well, there's no set wind speed that's going to break your windows. Of course, if you have hurricane-rated windows, it's going to take more of that to break it. And people want to know, when should we board up? Good rule of thumb here is when there's a hurricane warning and you're on the coast, that's about the time that you want to make sure you do that. In terms of wind speeds here, comparing that, though, once you get above 74 miles per hour, it's a good rule of thumb when you want to start boarding up those windows, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Every hurricane season, we're told to make sure your home is ready to survive a storm. But what does that mean? I asked a home improvement expert to walk us through what to be on the lookout for.
Are your doors and windows ready for hurricane season?
And if it's something that you've thought about for a little bit, just have somebody come out and really see.
Tat Granata from Florida Home Improvement Associates says the first step is walking the perimeter of your home with an expert, looking at vulnerabilities, including potential debris.
But you are concerned about the tree limbs and want to make sure that they're cut away from the house. And right now, where there's no hurricane protection, that is a real concern.
Granata says some of the features that give this Baldwin Park home curb appeal can also present challenges, like this porch with an overhang and windows at the corner.
And you know, around the corners of the home, you get a push and a pull on the glass, which starts like a little bit of a cyclone effect.
And anytime you have an overhang, that can allow strong winds to get trapped. Granata says if you don't have hurricane impact glass, that can lead to bigger problems than just a broken window.
Yeah, most times when you lose your roof, it's because one of the openings was breached, whether it be a window or door, where flying debris hits glass. The hurricane's now in the home, causes a lot of pressure, and then a roof section flies off.
Granata says because you can't break hurricane impact glass, that also protects from intruders year-round. And here's another thing to think about.
Right here, it's certainly exposed to the heat and the sunlight, so you can protect your home from the hurricane, as well as ordering an energy-efficient glass pack, which will make the home a lot more comfortable and certainly save you a lot of money on your energy bills.
Most people judge hurricanes on their speed, Cat 3, Cat 4, Cat 5. But wind is not the biggest killer. In minutes, I'll show you why water is a bigger risk for your family and your life. And meteorologist Candace Campos knows firsthand that preparing for a safe room in your home can save your life. She'll show us what you need, especially to calm the kids.
And they're a big part of most families, and preparing your pets for hurricane season is crucial too. What you need to know to protect your furry family members before a storm hits.
The NOAA Hurricane Hunter plane doesn't fly around or above the storm, it flies right through the heart of it. Coming up, I'll show you how it helps us get results for you.